I thought I was building something real with Jessica and her daughter Lily. For 3 years, I poured everything into being the stepdad Lily needed and the husband Jessica deserved. Then came that Tuesday dinner. One minute we were discussing curfew. The next Lily was screaming, "Why don't you just disappear?" Before I could recover, Jessica added the final blow, "We'd be better off without you." I didn't argue. I packed my bags and left. This morning my phone showed 13 missed calls. Let me know where you're watching from and hit that subscribe button if you've ever had to walk away to find your worth. At 34 years old, I was still putting myself back together after my divorce 2 years earlier. As an architectural project manager, I had finally achieved career stability, but my personal life felt completely empty. The routine was comfortable but lonely. Work, takeout, Netflix, sleep, repeat. My friends had mostly paired off, and I found myself turning down invitations rather than being the odd man out. That all changed on a sweltering 4th of July. My college buddy Mark insisted I come to his barbecue, refusing to take no for an answer. I arrived late, planning a quick appearance before an early escape. Then I saw Jessica across the yard laughing with a group of people I did not recognize. Something about her smile caught me, genuine, warm, with a hint of mischief. Mark noticed my stare and offered an introduction. Jessica, 32, worked in marketing at a local firm. She had the kind of easy confidence that comes from navigating life on your own terms. Our conversation flowed naturally from music to movies to our shared love of hiking the trails outside the city. An hour into our conversation, Jessica casually mentioned her daughter. "Lily is with her grandparents this weekend," she explained, studying my reaction. Many men had apparently made quick exits at this revelation. "How old is Lily?" I asked, genuinely curious rather than looking for an escape. "She just turned 12, Jessica replied, visibly relaxing when I continued our conversation instead of finding an excuse to wander away. After exchanging numbers, I waited exactly 2 days before calling to ask her out. Our first date was at a small jazz club downtown. The music provided perfect background for hours of conversation. Jessica told me about raising Lily alone after her ex-husband decided fatherhood was not for him and moved across the country. She spoke without bitterness, only a fierce protective love for her daughter. "He sends birthday cards sometimes," she said with a shrug. "Lily stopped waiting for them years ago." I admired Jessica immediately, her strength, her dedication, her ability to create a stable life for her child despite the challenges. By the time the waitstaff was stacking chairs around us, I knew I wanted to see her again. For the first 2 months, we dated carefully. We met for lunch during workdays or on weekends when Lily stayed with her grandparents. Jessica was understandably protective of her daughter, not wanting to introduce someone temporary into Lily's life. When she finally suggested I meet Lily, we planned a casual lunch at a diner they frequented. Lily was shy initially, studying me with careful eyes that looked much older than 12. She answered my questions politely but briefly, clearly reserving judgment. The turning point came when I noticed her sketching on her napkin. "You like to draw?" I asked, genuinely impressed by her detailed scene. Lily nodded tentatively, showing me more of her artwork on her phone. I had taken art classes in college and shared some basic techniques I remembered. By the end of lunch, she was asking questions and even laughed at one of my terrible jokes. After that, I started bringing small, thoughtful gifts for both of them: a set of professional sketching pencils for Lily, Jessica's favorite coffee beans books I thought they might enjoy. I never arrived empty-handed, not to buy their affection, but to show I was thinking about them, even when we were apart. Our first family outing was to the Modern Art Museum downtown. Lily was reluctant at first, but became animated when describing why certain pieces spoke to her. I found myself enjoying her perspective, seeing the art through fresh eyes. Jessica watched our interaction with a soft smile I had never seen before. When Lily struggled with math homework one evening, while Jessica prepared dinner, I offered to help. What began as a simple explanation of algebra concepts became a regular routine. Lily would save her math questions for the evenings I visited, and I discovered I enjoyed the mentor role more than I had expected. "Thank you, Jessica," whispered one night after Lily had gone to bed, "for being so patient with her, for actually caring. She makes it easy." I responded honestly, "She's a great kid." My friends noticed the change in me. Mark commented that I seemed happier, more purposeful. I realized he was right. Being with Jessica and Lily gave me something I had been missing. Not just companionship, but a sense of meaning beyond myself. 6 months into our relationship, Jessica and I had the "where is this going" talk. I admitted that I was all in, that I saw a future with her and Lily if they wanted that too. The relief on her face told me she felt the same way, but had been afraid to say it first. That Christmas, I was invited to join their family traditions. Lily insisted I help decorate the tree, showing me where each meaningful ornament belonged and sharing the stories behind them. I began to feel included in their world, no longer just a visitor passing through. Lily started coming to me for advice about school projects and friend drama. The trust developing between us meant everything to me. I was careful never to try replacing her father, but instead built our own unique relationship. After dating for a year, I asked Jessica to marry me. Before proposing, I had a conversation with Lily, wanting her blessing too. I will never forget her response. "You are not going to leave like my dad, right?" she asked, vulnerability breaking through her usual confidence. "I promise you," I told her, "I am here for both of you, for the long haul." She considered this for a long moment before nodding. "Then I think it would be okay if you married my mom." Our wedding was small and perfect. Lily served as junior bridesmaid, beaming in her carefully chosen dress. When the officiant pronounced us husband and wife, I hugged both Jessica and Lily. We were officially a family. I moved into their home the following weekend. I made a point of asking both of them about any changes I wanted to make, making sure Lily felt her space was respected. I converted the small den into a proper art studio for Lily, installing better lighting and storage for her growing collection of supplies. A week after I moved in, Lily presented me with a handmade card. "Welcome to the family," it read, illustrated with a drawing of the three of us holding hands. I kept it in my wallet until it fell apart from being unfolded so many times. Living together revealed challenges that dating had obscured. Jessica and I had different approaches to parenting, which became apparent within the first month. I believed in consistent rules and consequences. Jessica tended to be more lenient sometimes, letting things slide to avoid conflict. The first time I noticed this pattern was when Lily missed her assigned chore of loading the dishwasher. I mentioned it casually, and Jessica quickly jumped in. "She had a lot of homework tonight. I will take care of it." Lily watched this exchange with interest. As weeks passed, I noticed more instances where Jessica would undermine boundaries I tried to establish. If I asked Lily to finish her homework before watching television, Jessica might make an exception just this once that somehow became the new normal. When Lily was at school one day, I tried discussing this with Jessica. "I feel like we need to be on the same page with rules," I explained. "Otherwise, Lily gets confused about expectations." Jessica became defensive immediately. "I have been raising her for 12 years. I think I know what works." I backed down, not wanting to create tension. But the pattern continued, leaving me caught between wanting to parent effectively and not wanting to overstep. The most frustrating moments were when Jessica would directly contradict me in front of Lily. "Lily, please put your phone away during dinner," I would say. "It is fine just this time," Jessica would counter. "She is waiting for her friend to text about a project." I noticed Lily watching these interactions, carefully learning the dynamics. She began testing boundaries when Jessica was not present, then running to her mother with a modified version of events if I attempted any discipline. After one particularly frustrating evening, I asked Jessica for a private conversation after Lily went to bed. "I need us to present a united front," I explained. "Even if you disagree with me, can we discuss it privately rather than contradicting each other in front of Lily?" Jessica agreed, and things improved briefly. But old habits returned within weeks, and I found myself increasingly hesitant to address any behavioral issues with Lily. When Lily turned 15, the typical teenage turbulence hit our household hard. Her sweet artistic nature became buried beneath mood swings and attitude. New friends at school influenced both her appearance and behavior in ways that concerned me. I noticed her grades slipping as social activities took priority. When I expressed concern to Jessica, she dismissed it. "All teenagers go through this phase," she said. "Her grades are still passing. Do not make it a bigger deal than it is." Our first major argument as a family centered around curfew. Lily wanted to attend a concert that would not end until midnight on a school night. I suggested the following weekend instead, but Lily pitched a fit. "You are ruining my life," she shouted, stomping upstairs. I turned to Jessica, expecting support. Instead, she sided with Lily. "It is one night, Antoine. It will not kill her to stay out late once." "It is not about one night," I tried explaining. "It is about setting consistent expectations." Jessica rolled her eyes. "You are being too rigid. This is why she gets so frustrated with you." That conversation marked a turning point. Lily became increasingly dismissive of my input or suggestions. When I offered to help with an art project, she declined with a curt, "No thanks. Mom knows what I need." I tried connecting with Lily through her interests, offering to take her to an exhibition by an artist she admired. "I am busy that weekend," she said without checking her calendar. More concerning was the pattern of private conversations between Jessica and Lily that abruptly stopped when I entered the room. They developed inside jokes that excluded me, creating an us versus him dynamic I did not know how to break. My role in family decisions gradually diminished. Jessica stopped consulting me on matters regarding Lily making decisions and informing me after the fact. Family dinners became tense affairs with minimal conversation beyond pass the salt. When I tried discussing these concerns with Jessica, she would shut down the conversation. "You just do not understand what it is like for us," she would say, the us, clearly not including me. Lily began staying out later, with Jessica making excuses for her. Traffic was bad, or she lost track of time, became common explanations I was expected to accept without question. My attempts to plan family activities were met with reluctance or last-minute cancellations. The hiking trips and movie nights that had once brought us together became impossible to coordinate. One evening, I overheard Jessica on the phone with Lily. "It is just temporary," she said. "He will get over it. Just humor him for now." I felt like a stranger in my own home, an unwelcome intrusion in their established dynamic. I reached out to my friend Mark for advice, unsure if I was overreacting. "Have you considered family counseling?" he suggested. Blending families is tough, even in the best circumstances. Armed with research on blended families, I approached Jessica with the idea of counseling. "We do not need someone telling us how to be a family," she said dismissively. "You are creating problems where there are not any." "I am not trying to create problems," I insisted. "I am trying to solve the ones we already have." "The only problem is that you want to control everything," she responded, ending the conversation. Still determined to rebuild my connection with Lily, I planned a special outing just for the two of us to an art supply store she had mentioned, wanting to visit, followed by lunch at her favorite restaurant. "That sounds nice," she said when I proposed it, but called the morning of our plans, complaining of a headache. An hour later, I saw her social media post showing her at the mall with friends. After a particularly tense week, I asked Jessica for a heart-to-heart conversation. For once, she seemed receptive, acknowledging the growing distance between us. "I will try harder," she promised. "We both will." For a few days, things improved. Jessica consulted me on decisions, and Lily responded to my questions with more than one-word answers. But by the following week, we had regressed to the same painful patterns. I found myself walking on eggshells in my own home, measuring every word to avoid triggering conflict. When Jessica and Lily shared yet another inside joke at dinner, excluding me entirely, I faced a growing realization that something fundamental was broken in our family dynamic. The situation reached a critical point when Lily missed curfew by 3 hours on a school night. Jessica had gone to bed unconcerned while I stayed up worried sick. When Lily finally came home, I immediately smelled alcohol on her breath. "Have you been drinking?" I asked, trying to keep my tone even. "What if I have?" she challenged, swaying slightly. Jessica appeared in the hallway, awakened by our voices. "What is going on?" "Your daughter came home 3 hours late, smelling like a bar," I said, frustration evident in my voice. "Do not be dramatic," Jessica said, putting her arm around Lily. "Go to bed, sweetie. We will talk in the morning." I watched in disbelief as Jessica escorted Lily upstairs without consequence or further discussion. When she returned, I could not hold back. "She is 15, Jessica. 15 and drinking. And you are acting like it is normal. She is a teenager, experimenting. Stop overreacting." Overreacting. What happens when experimenting leads to real danger? Drunk, driving, sexual assault. Where do you draw the line? Jessica's face hardened. "How dare you suggest? I do not care about her safety. You have been trying to control both of us since day one. Trying to establish basic rules is not controlling." I countered, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. "This is my house." And my daughter Jessica hissed. "You do not get the final say." I stared at her, the words hitting like physical blows. "Your house. I thought it was our home. And while she may not be my biological daughter, I have loved and cared for Lily as my own for 3 years. Maybe that was the mistake," Jessica muttered, walking away. I spent that night in the spare room, staring at the ceiling, wondering how we had reached this point. By morning, I had made a decision. We needed to address these issues directly, all three of us, before the damage became irreparable. I suggested a family dinner the following evening. "We need to clear the air," I told Jessica. "This cannot continue." She agreed reluctantly, and I took the day off work to prepare Lily's favorite meal, homemade lasagna with garlic bread and Caesar salad. I wanted to create a peaceful environment for the difficult conversation ahead. The dinner began pleasantly enough with conversation about safe topics: a new movie release, the neighbor's renovation project, an upcoming art show at Lily's school. I waited until we were nearly finished eating before carefully bringing up my concerns. "I think we need to talk about some family rules that everyone can respect." I began, keeping my tone gentle. Lily immediately rolled her eyes while Jessica's posture stiffened visibly. "I love both of you," I continued, "and I want us to function better as a family. That means consistent expectations and mutual respect." "Here we go again," Lily muttered. "Lily," I said, "part of growing up is learning responsibility and consequences. The drinking incident the other night was serious. We cannot just pretend it did not happen." "You are not my father," she snapped. "Stop trying to act like you are." "I know I am not your biological father," I acknowledged. "But I care about what happens to you. That is why I worry when you miss curfew or when your grades slip. Why do you even care?" Lily's voice rose. "It is not like you will stick around anyway." "I am not going anywhere, Lily. I made a commitment to this family." "Nobody wants you here," she shouted, pushing back from the table. "Why don't you just disappear?" The words hung in the air like shattered glass. I turned to Jessica, expecting her to address Lily's outburst. Instead, she looked directly at me and delivered the fatal blow. "We would be better off without you." Time seemed to stop. In that moment, 3 years of trying to build a family collapsed. I set down my napkin, slowly, unable to find words. There was nothing left to say. I stood up, walked upstairs to our bedroom, and began packing a bag. I could hear Jessica downstairs, not addressing Lily's behavior but comforting her instead. "It is okay, honey. You did not do anything wrong." I wrote a brief note explaining I was going to a hotel to give everyone space. I did not slam doors or shout recriminations as I left. There was only a hollow emptiness as I drove away from the house I had thought was my home. Checking into an extended stay hotel, I called my office to request a few personal days. That first night, I sat in the generic room, staring at the wall, trying to process what had happened. The silence was broken only by the hum of the air conditioner and occasional footsteps in the hallway. No calls or texts came from Jessica or Lily that first day. I was simultaneously relieved and devastated by their silence confirmation that perhaps they truly were better off without me. The next morning, I made an appointment with a therapist. I needed objective perspective on whether I had been unreasonable in my expectations, or if the family dynamic had become truly toxic. I also reached out to friends I had neglected since marrying Jessica. Mark invited me to dinner, listening without judgment as I explained the situation. "You tried to be a parent," he observed. "Jessica wanted you to be a friend to Lily, not a father figure. That contradiction was never going to work long term." His words helped me begin examining the relationship patterns more objectively. In my journal that evening, I wrote about what I believed healthy family dynamics should include: mutual respect, consistent boundaries, open communication, and unified parenting. Our home had none of these. I made the decision not to return without significant changes. I loved Jessica and Lily, but I could not continue in a relationship where I was perpetually cast as the villain for attempting to parent. On the second morning of my self-imposed exile, I woke to discover 13 missed calls from overnight, 10 from Jessica, 3 from Lily. Jessica's voicemails ranged from angry accusations to tearful pleas. "How could you just leave?" the first demanded. "Please come home. We need to talk about this," begged the fifth. "Antoine, I am sorry. Please call me," whispered the 10th. Lily's single voicemail simply said, "I did not mean it." I consulted my newly appointed therapist before responding, wanting to avoid being pulled back into unhealthy patterns by guilt or manipulation. "What do you need to see change before you would consider returning?" she asked. The question helped me formulate a clear response. I texted Jessica requesting an in-person meeting without Lily at a neutral coffee shop downtown. She agreed immediately. Before our meeting, I prepared by identifying my non-negotiable needs in the relationship: respect as an equal partner in parenting decisions, consistency in rules and consequences, and family counseling to address the underlying issues. When I saw Jessica at the coffee shop, the dark circles under her eyes mirrored my own sleepless nights. Despite my resolve, seeing her pain was difficult. "I miss you," she said, as soon as I sat down. "I miss you too," I admitted. But missing each other is not enough to fix what is broken. For the first time since our problems began, Jessica truly listened. I explained how I felt undermined, excluded, and disrespected in our family. To my surprise, she did not become defensive. "I enabled Lily's behavior," she admitted quietly. "After her father left, I compensated by avoiding conflict with her. I never wanted her to feel rejected again, so I became her friend instead of her parent. When you tried to establish boundaries, it threatened that dynamic." Her honesty opened the door to my own. "I love you both, but I cannot come back to a home where I am treated as an outsider. I need to be your partner, not just someone passing through your lives." By the end of our 2-hour conversation, we had established clear conditions for moving forward. Jessica agreed to family counseling, and I agreed to return home on a trial basis. Our first counseling session was brutally honest. Lily admitted she pushed me away because she feared I would eventually leave like her father. "If I make you go away first, then it does not hurt as much," she explained, tears streaming down her face. Jessica acknowledged how her abandonment by Lily's father affected her current parenting. "I was so afraid of losing her love that I stopped being the parent she needed." I shared my hurt, but also my commitment to healing if everyone participated equally in the process. The counselor helped us establish clear family rules with consistent consequences that both Jessica and I would enforce. We created a written agreement that everyone signed, posted on the refrigerator as a daily reminder. My return home was initially awkward. Lily was unusually quiet, watching me cautiously, as if expecting me to punish her for her outburst. Jessica made obvious efforts to consult me on decisions, sometimes overcompensating by asking my opinion on trivial matters. Gradually, genuine interactions replaced the performative ones. Lily tested my commitment through small rebellions, waiting to see if I would give up on her like her father had. Instead, I remained consistent but loving, enforcing boundaries while making it clear my care for her was unconditional. The breakthrough came unexpectedly during a routine homework session. Lily was struggling with a particularly difficult math problem, growing frustrated with each failed attempt. "I cannot do this," she muttered, throwing down her pencil. "Yes, you can," I encouraged. "Let us break it down into smaller steps." "Why do you even care if I pass math?" she challenged, the old defiance flaring. "Because I care about you," I answered simply. "And I am not going anywhere no matter how many math problems we have to solve." She stared at me for a long moment before picking up her pencil again. "Show me one more time," she said quietly. Jessica supported my role, rather than undermining it, backing my decisions even when Lily attempted to play us against each other. When Lily came to her complaining about a consequence I had imposed, Jessica responded, "Antoine and I are a team. The rules apply even when you do not like them." Family dinner gradually became a peaceful time for connection again. We instituted a no-phones policy and took turns sharing highlights from our day. The tensions that had made these gatherings battlegrounds dissipated as mutual respect grew. For the first time since joining their family, I felt truly part of it rather than an accessory to Jessica and Lily's established duo. My opinion mattered. My presence was wanted. My love was reciprocated. The most surprising development came when Lily asked for my help with her college applications, though she was still 2 years from graduation. "I want to apply to art schools," she explained. "Mom does not know about portfolios and stuff, but you took art classes in college." The request represented a level of trust I had not dared hope for so soon. Together we researched requirements and planned which pieces she should develop for her portfolio over the next 2 years. Jessica and I rebuilt our romantic relationship alongside our parenting partnership. Date nights became sacred time protected from the demands of daily life. We remembered why we fell in love in the first place: her laugh, my terrible jokes, our shared dreams for the future. The most meaningful moment came during my birthday celebration, 6 months after the crisis that nearly ended our family. Lily presented me with a handmade card, featuring a drawing of the three of us. "Thank you for coming back," she had written inside. "Thank you for not giving up on us." Later that night, as Jessica and I prepared for bed, I reflected on how walking away had paradoxically strengthened our foundation. "I never thought leaving would lead to this," I admitted. Jessica squeezed my hand. "Sometimes we need to lose something to understand its value." Looking back now, I understand that blended families require extraordinary commitment and communication. The journey is rarely smooth, and there are still days when old patterns threaten to reemerge. The difference is that now we recognize them and address issues before they fester. I learned that love sometimes requires difficult choices. Walking away was not about abandonment, but about establishing that I deserved basic respect within my family. That self-respect ultimately benefited all of us, creating the foundation for healthier relationships. Jessica found the courage to be a parent, rather than just a friend, to Lily setting boundaries that actually made their relationship stronger. She discovered that Lily craved structure and consistency, even when she fought against it. Lily, now approaching 17, has matured significantly. She recently told her counselor that having clear expectations actually makes her feel more secure. "When I know where the lines are," she explained, "I do not have to waste energy testing them all the time." The challenges of creating a blended family do not disappear overnight. We still have disagreements about parenting approaches, household responsibilities, and teenage independence. The difference is that we now face these challenges together rather than as adversaries. I am grateful for the crisis that forced necessary changes in our family dynamic. Without that painful Tuesday dinner, we might have continued our slow deterioration until nothing remained to salvage. Sometimes the worst moments create opportunity for the most meaningful growth. Our experience taught me that distance sometimes provides clarity, that proximity cannot. Stepping back from a toxic situation is not weakness but wisdom. The perspective gained from separation can illuminate paths forward that remain hidden when too close to the problem. As we look toward the future, we do so as a united family with healthy boundaries and mutual respect. Lily is researching colleges with strong art programs. Jessica has been promoted at her marketing firm, and I recently completed a major architectural project downtown. We celebrate each other's successes and support each other through difficulties. The most profound lesson I learned through this experience is that family is not defined by biology, but by choice. Every day we choose to love each other, respect each other, and grow together. Those daily choices, more than any legal document or shared DNA, are what truly make us a family. Have you ever had to step away from something you love to save it? Share your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories about navigating complex family dynamics. Your support means everything to this channel, so do not forget to share with someone who might need to hear this message today. Thank you for listening, and remember that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away until proper boundaries are established. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.